Welcome to the number one top 5 show on the Explosion Network, Top 5 with Nick. I'm your host, Nick. Today we're going to talk about licensed games. Licensed games, what immediately comes to mind is the shovelware games that are often tie into one movie or show or whatever. However, some of the best games are in fact licensed games. Here are a list of our top 5. The guests with me today are Ashley Hobley.
Hey, I'm on this episode.
You are on this episode. And Kieran, Dylan Blight.
You're just so used to Kieran being on this show. You just say his name. I'm sure that will make him happy. I feel like you should just re-record that whole part and fix it, because you know if Kieran listens, he's just going to be like, yeah, because I was on every fucking episode.
It should be top 5 with Nicholas Bryan and Kieran
it should
Marchant.
be top 5 of Kieran and Nick, not just top fucking 5.
Shine
Hello,
my shoes.
I'm on the season finale though, so fuck you, Kieran.
You are in the season finale, because this is in fact the season finale.
Ah, what?
I know, right? We reached the end. Whoever thought we would have got there?
Well, I mean, all things come to an end, so.
As content editor for an Explosion Network, I'd hope we'd reach the end.
How hard was it for you two to pick your list?
My problem, like, so straight away you chuck out the rules. You're like, look, The Witcher can count, you know, whatever. Like, we're not just thinking your movie license games and this sort of stuff. So then it's like, oh, The Witcher 3, blah 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 blah. But I'm like, yes, but then I had to boil it down to, what does my brain actually think of when I think of licensed games? And I kind of just had to sit The Witcher aside, and some of these other games that I could stretch to fit in the criteria, but don't automatically jump to my head. So then I just went with the ones that are there, that make more sense to me, and left spoilers, The Witcher 3 and those sorts of things aside.
What about you, Ashley Hobley?
Yeah, putting a list of licensed games wasn't hard. I think whittling it down to 5 has been a bit tricky, trying to fit which ones I think will fit. So I've got a couple of extras. Yeah.
A couple of extras.
Yeah, just in case.
Oh, just might we have honourable mentions this episode? Who knows? Spoilers, we won't. All right, I'm going to start with you, Ashley Hobley. What is your first licensed game?
I will jump in first off the bat with Arkham City, Batman Arkham City. I mean, all 3 Arkham games are pretty stellar and pretty close to each other, but obviously Arkham City was the first one to open it up to that whole cityscape. Just gliding around that city is like the most fun. Being Batman, beating up thugs all over the place. I mean, the Riddler trophies aren't great in that game, but
No.
I enjoyed the story as well,
though?
with Hugo Strange and Ra's al Ghul and Joker and Harley. It's great.
Yeah, I agree. The Arkham games are fantastic, but my heart lies with Asylum. I think opening up was a detriment to the series, in my opinion. I like the
Metroidvania.
the Metroidvania, kind of the intimate, kind of scaled down story of Asylum, but the story of City was pretty cool, and Hugo Strange and all that stuff. So I'll allow it.
Good.
I think City was one of the, if I think about some games I was most excited for ever, which I can't think of a game recently, and I think I've told this on some podcast before.
Yeah, I've heard it before.
But like, yeah, it was the last game I can remember just devouring every bit of information I could for City. And then going into the game after reading every Game Inform article, every IGN article, you know, et cetera, watching every trailer, and then you still reach the end of that game and I was still getting blown away by the twists and turns and the boss battles, like the Mr. Freeze battle.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was great that I read so much and still it didn't spoil anything for me. And the Catwoman stuff, which I was worried about going in, because I'm like, how fun's it going to be to play as Catwoman compared to Batman? Like, surely you just want to play as Batman all the time. But no, the Catwoman stuff I thought was really good too.
Did you play the Harley DLC?
I played all the DLCs. The Harley DLC was what, like 20 minutes, I think?
I don't know. I never played any of the DLC.
I'm pretty sure there's a cutscene. You walk down a corridor, beat up some thugs. Walk down a corridor, beat up some thugs. Cutscene. That's the end of it.
Yeah.
That sounds like all the DLC.
That was
Challenge
basically
rooms.
all their DLCs, like the Red Robin, all those sorts of ones. It was combat trials with a cutscene on the end of both sides, basically.
And they just
The
play
only
slightly different.
Yeah, the only true DLC I feel like they did, like proper big type thing, was the Batgirl one. for Night, which had like a whole. It was like the theme park or whatever. And
Yeah.
you go in there, and it actually had secrets to find and like its own map. That was the only DLC I feel like they've done that was actually worthwhile getting.
Yeah.
But different story.
All right. What's your first one, Dylan?
As always, I'd like to make a note that mine are in order, and I'm going to be going from 5 to 1.
Don't worry, I'm going to edit this so they're out of order.
No, thank you. You wouldn't fucking do that. In what world?
We have to listen to find out.
My number 5 is Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro, the PS1 game. What was that? Look, Ash,
I
just
thought it
gave
was
me a
the
look.
Amazing
I think Spider-Man 2 was on PS2.
Yeah, no.
No, Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro. There's
I
a
don't think it's the
Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man
Yeah, there's
2
a
that
different.
everyone...
I'm sure there's a different one, but
There's
the
different
Spider-Man
on
one
PS, I'm sure.
on Amazing Spider-Man
I'm
2 is the one everybody raves about and is comparing.
Yeah, that
to
was
the
like
new
the
one.
time to the movie one, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, I haven't played that.
Me neither.
The Enter Electro though was the one I played the most as a kid, and up until this day is as far as I'm concerned, the best Spider-Man game I've played. You'd bump into Wolverine and shit in it. Stan Lee had narration going on. It was awesome as a kid. The storyline was like Electro is a bad guy, got to stop him. But I remember there was like different combos you had to learn. He was like tap tap down, square would do your big cannonball web shoot thing, all sorts of stuff. You'd swing through the city. I'm sure if I go watch footage now of what it looked like swinging around at that game, it looks like utter garbage. But but back in the day, it was cool. And even when I was playing on PS3, because I played most of those PS3 ones, like the Shattered Dimension and that trilogy, or 2 games that were part of that kind of series. Even playing those ones, which are the last Spider-Man games I played, both those time travel ones, I just kept thinking, Enter Electro was always better. Enter Electro was always better, which is very comic booky. I enjoyed the combat in it. It wasn't too overcomplicated, but it wasn't button mashy. Had a counter system and everything. Developed by Vicarious Visions, which, have done lots of things, but notable at the moment for Crash Bandicoot trilogy, I feel.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never play that game. Like, now that I come to think about it, I've played more bad Spider-Man games than I've played good games.
Well, there's more bad Spider-Man games than there are good Spider-Man games. So.
I found that so the plot. This is the synopsis. It's a sequel to Neversoft's Spider-Man title, which I never played up to this day. I've never played the first one in whatever this is, which was released the previous year. The game follows Spider-Man as he attempts to stop another old nemesis, Electro, from obtaining a source of power known as the Bio-Nexus device. Game bosses include Shocker, Hammerhead, Lizard, Sandman, and the charged-up Hyper-Electro.
Isn't it a bit
Hyper-Electro.
redundant to have Shocker in the same game as Electro?
You would think so.
Yeah, the game is notable for having its final level drastically changed after the September 11th attacks, because it was released in North America October 19th, 2001.
It's interesting.
Dun, dun, dun.
Very interesting. All right, I'm going to jump in here. I'm going to get the big one out of the way first. The Witcher 3.
You did it.
I did it. Because for those who might not be aware, is the Witcher game series is actually licensed off a series of books by a Polish author. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name because I'm going to butcher it. Pretty much. Spot on. Apparently he's very cantankerous towards this series because it's taken away a lot of
It's more successful than the books,
recognition
let's be
for
honest.
him and his books and stuff like that. But I guess in a way you could look at it, the games as kind of like fan fiction, I suppose.
But let's be fair. Would any of us, and I mean, I haven't read all the books, and I still finished the first one, started, not for any reason other than my own fault. But would you have looked into the books, do you reckon, if the game had...
Oh,
this
no
system?
way.
I
It
know I
probably
would
wouldn't
have.
even be on my radar.
Yeah, some random Polish fantasy book, you'd be like,
Yeah.
Like, would they have even got translated to English without the games?
Honestly, it's
Maybe.
the Witcher books got me, or the games got me to start reading again heavily in the past recent couple of years. So, I mean, it's got that going for it, but I don't agree with his view on it, but, like, there's nothing I can say about the game itself that everyone who's listening hasn't heard before. But it's just interesting where it come from as it being a licensed game and advancing the story and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's a great licensed game, I think.
Witcher
And
3
arguably the best licensed game ever made.
Yeah, it could be made if you want to include it. I purposely chose to exclude it because I
you're a
don't think of it
contrarian.
as a... No, it's just because I don't think of it as a licensed game. Like,
But it is.
whenever I see The Witcher 3, I'm not like, oh, that's a licensed game. My brain doesn't even consider it. It just stands above the product that it was licensed
You need to
from, which
think
I feel
outside
like,
of your box, man.
well, I feel like for licensed games, you just there needs to be that feeling of every time I looked at the random movie tie-in games from when they were doing them every single year, you'd walk past those in your Blockbuster or whatever, and sometimes I'd always be might rent it because you knew it'd be kind of shitty. Or you have to relate a licensed game back to its product first, I feel. Whereas The Witcher, I think of the game before the books. But for Spider-Man or something, I think about the comic character before the game, or Batman before the Batman games, if that makes sense.
Yep. Well, it's my show and it counts, so fuck you.
I said it would still count. I just...
Ashley, what's your next one?
GoldenEye. I mean,
Yeah.
it pretty much sums up a lot of people's childhoods. I think that multiplayer we played for hours and hours and hours. I mean, even the campaign is pretty solid. I mean, it's not the worst thing. I mean,
No, I really enjoyed it.
yeah. Although I did do this thing where you just stay in one room and then enemies would just keep spawning. So you just murder like 500 people in like one room. It was great because I'm a sociopath. Yeah, GoldenEye, lots of fun. I don't know
Yep.
how we played it, but we did, and
Well, you obviously had a third hand back then.
yeah,
Yeah,
everybody
with
had
your
a
second
third hand.
Nice. I tried to play it once, and it was well past its due date when I tried to play it, and I couldn't understand the 64 controller. And
Oh, because you weren't a 64 kid.
Yeah. So I tried to
you
play it.
You're one of the weirdos.
Yes, the weirdos. I tried to play it for the first time when the PS3 was out. I feel like that's when I tried to play it, around that generation of period, and I hate the controller. I hate the game. My two friends who I was trying to play it with, who had 64s, are just running around like, this is so fun, reminiscing of our childhoods. I'm like, fuck this, I'm gonna go watch TV.
I'm gonna go watch GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, GoldenEye is one that featured in my multiplayer moments episode a fortnight ago. But yeah, it didn't even come to my mind when I thought of licensed games. It's more I guess for me, a couch co-op type game. Like those kind of memories are more than it is a licensed memory, I think.
But it's
So-
licensed.
It is licensed. I'm not saying it's not. But it just didn't quite make my list.
No, okay. That's good.
Did you play much couch co-op? Oh, not co-op, like multiplayer?
That was kind of the only option. There was
not
no
really.
online back then. I don't know if you know this.
No, but like,
Yeah,
There wasn't a remake.
there wasn't the remake. That's true. I never picked up the remake.
No, neither did I.
no, neither did I. It was on GameCube, I think.
No, it
No,
was, all
it was
con-
like-
it was on
it was on
PS3
everything.
and everything, I think.
Oh, okay.
Just, yeah, with
I never tried.
Daniel Craig.
Yeah, they changed it. Daniel Craig.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
Yeah,
probably
that's-
why I didn't.
That's weird.
They changed Sean Bean to... No, they left Sean.
For England, James. All right, what's your next one, Dylan?
The Simpsons Hit and Run.
Yes, that's on my
PS2
honorable
game.
mentions.
This is my introduction to Crazy Taxi. As a kid, I got this game for Christmas one year, and it was just, the gameplay is so simple, addictive, fun. But I mean, that's the Crazy Taxi formula, I guess, given to it. But then also loving The Simpsons as a kid, it was just a lot of fun to be picking up characters that driving around this city that seeing all these buildings that going, like dropping people off the school. Then you could run down random people, and that would be funny too. Then it had it had a pretty good unlock system where you was unlocking different cars, and one of the really higher up ones, like the Barney snowmobile thing from that episode, when you finally unlock that, and it's like, oh, that's fun. Get to
Mr.
drive that
Player.
truck. Yeah, Mr. Player, but like Barney's whatever. I think the competition
Snow
one.
King or something like that.
Snow King or something. Yeah.
Fucking.
And then I also have such a high memory from this game for one reason. It stands out so much, and I played it lots and lots. And I would like, this is one of those games that I would love them to remaster this, this would be great fun to. This is one of those wish list. Please just remaster it and chuck some trophies on it. Games for me, just because I know that it would just be. I'd put 10 hours or so, 20 hours into it. It's also what fills that gap of a game when you sit down late at night and you're like, I want to play something, but I've only got like 20 minutes or half an hour, but you don't want to jump into anything too long. This is the kind of game you could turn on for 20 minutes and just go around, do one round, see how you go, and get a good fix. But this also stands out in memory so much because it was the first game that used the date, the date and clock system from the system files in the PS2 to do something, which was on New Year's Day. I turned it on it was either New Year's Day or Eve, I can't remember which one. But I turned on the game, went to play it, and Apu had a new car in it. That was like a New Year's celebration one. And I lost my fucking mind. I was like, the game knows.
And you haven't regained it since.
I was like, but I didn't put it all together. I didn't understand how. I was just so confused. How does the game know that it's New Year's today? How does it know this? How could it possibly know? I've never seen a game like go into system files like that before for anything. I hadn't played Metal Gear at this stage, so like I was very easy acceptable to this type of thing. It was very confusing.
Yeah, I don't believe I played that one. I believe I played. There was a sequel, I guess. It was kind of more like GTA, where you could exit the cars and stuff.
No, that was Hit and Run.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay, well then I played that. I played the hell out of it.
That just went from like literally no idea what you're talking about, but like it sounds cool, and I think I played the sequel to. No, I played the hell out of that game.
Because I thought there was one where you couldn't exit the car.
Road Rage.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't play that one. I played this one. The thing that I remember most about the game is picking up the comic book man and he was criticizing you and all that kind of stuff. And there was a mission with Marge where you had to get all the video games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The illegal or whatever the ones you had to pick up for Bart or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I enjoy that game quite a lot, actually, now I think about it. But it didn't even register with me when I was thinking about my list.
No, I wouldn't think of The Simpsons as a licensed property either.
No.
Fuck you,
No,
show's
only
cancelled.
books.
Only fucking Polish books. Not James Bond or The Simpsons.
Alright. My next one is Total War Warhammer. These games are... They're Total War games. If you haven't played one of them, they're kind of like split into two different modes where there's the campaign map, which is similar to kind of like a turn-based Civilization game, and then there's the next mode, which is like the battles, which are like armies that you build up in the campaign map and you fight like real time on a battlefield. But this game does something that a lot of games that use these license don't do, is make a really good game. Where like it seems to be recently, like they put out hundreds of shitty tie-in Warhammer games that don't use the license very well, but this one is pretty fantastic, and it was called for many years getting them to do it, because they tried to do one like, well, I don't know how many years ago now, in a similar vein, but it just didn't work properly. But Creative Assembly managed to get the nuances of all the races down and the traits and all that and the different unit types and work in a game together where it's so different between each race and that. I know you two probably don't have any analog for it, but
No.
I think it's a fantastic
I used to play
license
Warhammer.
game. Yeah, I know, but I mean as in
Yeah, I've never played a
Total
Total
War
War
games. Yeah.
It seems.
Well, I haven't played a Total War, but as we've said before, when I hit real RTS super fans, I'm like, I played Age of Empires, like,
Yeah.
so there is like that brief understanding, I guess.
So, it's a good license game.
Sure it
Fight
is.
me. Alright, Ashley, what's your next one?
Next one on my list, Kingdom Hearts. I think it is the ultimate licensed game. It's got a whole bunch of licensed stuff just chucked all in, and then somehow has some
The
ridiculous
licensed
original
game
story
is a
on top.
licensed blender.
Yeah, pretty much. You get a Tarzan game. You get a Final Fantasy VII game, sort of. You get a Hercules game. You get all these Disney games chucked into one game. It's good. It's great. What else can you say other than
You've
it's
got
great?
a completely nonsensical story that
It
makes
makes
absolutely
total
no
sense
to
if you
anything.
understand what they're doing, which very few people.
But the
do.
thing is, nobody understands. They
Yeah.
don't even understand what they're doing.
But yeah, for them to get the license to have that sort of freedom with those characters and stories is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is a pretty major achievement to be able to get that kind of freedom from Disney, where it's historically very, very protective of its IP, especially
Yeah.
those kind of ones.
I'll jump on it. Kingdom Hearts is number 2 on my list.
Yeah.
Oh, looks like you're gonna have to get a different number too.
No, I'm not changing mine. I stick to it. But yeah, it's like when you think licensed games, it's hard not to automatically thinking. I think Kingdom Hearts was the first game I thought of, but I moved it down from number 1 to number 2. But growing up as a kid, Kingdom Hearts was for many years what I said was my favorite game. Like, even after number 2 release, there was so many years going through all of high school. Whenever someone asked what my favorite game was, Kingdom Hearts. I put hundreds of hours into that first game. I remember when I finally got everyone's legendary weapon and I beat the fucking last Sephiroth battle in the Colosseum, and I was like, I'm done. It was like that first time I feel like I got sad that there was nothing left for me to do in a game, because it was just like, there's literally fucking nothing to do now. I guess I'll wait for the second one to come out. And little did I know how appreciative I should be of my only 1.5 or 2 year wait at the time, or whatever it was, to get my hands on the sequel. Because once I was done with number 2,
At least we're down to months, not years now.
Yeah, we're down to months, not years. But I can remember the first time I even saw Kingdom Hearts. That's how much the game actually sticks in my memory. I was in a Kmart, and this was, I think we had only got our PS2 for, like a couple months at this point. And I remember walking down the aisles, looking at the games, and this was Kingdom Hearts on the Platinum Collection.
Yep.
And I just remember seeing that striking cover art and going, this is cool. I need this. I didn't even know anything
it wasn't
about
even.
the game.
I don't think it had anything Disney on the cover, did it? It was just.
Oh, you
like,
could see Mickey outline and like Goofy and stuff. Like,
Oh, yeah.
so it was like Sora, Riku, Kairi,
yeah.
Sora,
Silhouetted
Mickey,
against
Donald.
the moon.
Hey,
Silhouetted against the moon.
yeah, Silhouette. It's a fucking. It is a great. To this day, I still think it's one of my favorite cover images. And I recently got. At the time of recording this, I recently got the 1.5 or 2.5 collection, and when you start up that, it has the image in the main menu, and I was just sitting there, and it was playing the music, like little piano, whatever, music
Score.
from the main menu, and just sitting, and I sat there for several minutes going, like, this is, like, it'd been so long since I'd like looked at the image, I heard the
Goofy,
music.
I'm home.
It's like, yeah, it's like, Goofy, I'm home, yeah. But yeah, I remember walking down the aisle and seeing that cover and going, all I saw was Square Enix. I knew what Square Enix was because I love the Final
What is
Fantasy
it?
games. Well, the developer, the publisher.
Was it Square Enix at the time, or was it Square Soft?
Or
Or was it just Square?
No, it was just the Square. Yeah, but I remember seeing that, and my brain knew that's Final Fantasy 9. That's Final Fantasy 7. They're games I've played and love. Final
Looks like
Fantasy
it was
9 was
Square.
probably at the time the game I'd put the most time into. So automatically, I'm just like, yes. And then I see Disney characters, and my brain just pretty much exploded and went, yes. And then I remember finding my mum in whatever aisle she's in and going, I want this. And she said no. And the moral of the story is you don't always get what you want until months later when it's your birthday.
I'm noticing a common theme with you, Dylan. Your head tends to explode quite a lot.
Well,
It's prone to explosions.
I like things. Yeah, but Kingdom
Plus
Hearts
the
is great.
Explosion Network.
Kingdom
Yeah,
Hearts is fucking great.
I remember we went to Perth for Christmas one year, and that year we got a PS2 for Christmas, and it come with GTA 3 and something else. And then, like a couple of days later, we went to the shop, and my brother got 2 games, and I got 2 games, and one of his games was Kingdom Hearts. and I remember playing me and my brother taking turns playing that and really enjoying it. But I never finished it personally. I found the combat very clunky and hard to control for me. Like I couldn't. I don't know.
Changing the moving up and down the attacks and magic.
Yeah,
things
like
flying,
it's like real time jumping around, but you still got to fucking go through menus and stuff. It's kind of.
I think you get used to it after a while. Like
You probably
the
do,
key
but
to success is shortcut keying whatever spells you mainly want, and that sort of thing.
But I like it. Just like I wasn't that interested in it at the time. Like I was at the age where like I guess Disney isn't cool anymore, kind of.
Disney's always cool.
Yeah, I know, but you go through that age when you're a kid and you think, oh, I'm too old for that now. But like, yeah, it was fine for what it was. I don't think I could go back to it now, knowing what it is and like that short video.
You could. It's quite easy. You get that 1.5, 2.5 collection.
I think I'll wait till 3 comes out and get about fucking 6 games in one.
Yeah, you could also do that.
Yeah.
I also remember like the first time I played it because there was a lot of PS1 Disney games I played that I'm very fond of that aren't on this list. But like there was a Tarzan PS1 game, a Hercules PS1 game, and well, I think they're the two that stand out. But there was a Tarzan and a Hercules game. That
Yeah, I
played a
loved
lot
the
of.
Hercules one.
Yeah, and when I got into Kingdom Hearts, it was like. It was just better than those, like graphically, and was seeing and just being more in that world than those games could give me. But then I'd still think about those games while playing it. Like, this is so cool. It's like so much better. Remember the scene in the Tarzan PS1 game where you like went down the tree like it's a fucking slide? Well, you do it in this game too, but it's better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was cool having all the villains from the different movies working together, like a common goal.
Oh, I just
100%
remembered.
shit.
I hated the fucking gummy ship stuff.
Everyone hates the gummy ships, I feel.
It's back.
Yeah, it's back.
Everybody's happy.
It's not going
Is it
away.
back as in like this is the first time it's been since the last?
Yeah.
Well,
This game?
I've been playing Birth by Sleep at the moment, and there's no gummy ship battles and that shit, so... There you go.
Yeah.
Still not going to play it. So do you want that to be your next choice or Dylan?
Yeah.
Oh, you can skip me if you want. I'll
Okay.
do 3 next.
All right. My next one is Batman Arkham Asylum.
Or not, because this is my number 3.
All right, we can double team it. You can go. You can speak yours first,
No,
Dylan.
you should probably since it was your pick.
Well, there's both our picks.
Now it's a tag team, well.
Yeah.
All right, I'll start off then. Arkham Asylum, as you were saying before, like I love all the Arkham games. Like I don't love the tank stuff.
Yeah.
Sure,
It was pretty bad.
but it doesn't ruin my
No.
experience.
But
of
the story
game
in
at
that
all.
one, like, is
the
so
story
good
was
that you...
pretty cool.
Yeah, and there was parts of the tank stuff I actually did enjoy. Like there are moments when I'm in some of the tank battle stuff. I didn't hate. It was just when I was after I'd killed like 150 tanks. and
I
was like,
think-
is this going to end?
I think my issue with the tank stuff is, yeah, it controlled bad, but whatever, that's its own thing. But I think it felt thematically
Weird.
not Batman.
Yeah. They just wanted to give you something to do. I can understand what I was
Yeah.
trying to do, but anyway. And driving around in the Batmobile without the tank stuff was
fun.
fucking cool.
And then jumping out,
Sorry.
yeah, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and shooting out, but all that. So that stuff in City and Night, like the big city and how they got better over those games, sure. But I will always just think back to the first one and playing that and just having my mind blown. Because it was that whole you'd never played a licensed. I don't feel like I'd ever played a licensed game or specifically a comic book character game that was done that well. And even though I remember listening to, I didn't even know about this game because I wasn't that big in keeping up with the industry, I suppose, at the time. But I just started like listening to podcasts and stuff, and I do remember hearing about it the first time on Beyond or GameScoop or IGN or something like that. That was the first time. The game had just come out. And they were all talking about it, and I think Damon or someone had reviewed it, and he was raving about it on GameScoop. And I just remember thinking, no way, he's wrong. Like, I've played Batman games. I've played Spider-Man games. I've played Wolverine games. You know, I've played comic book games. There's no way this is as good as everyone's raving about it. And I refused to believe everyone for months and months. And then it got to a stage where it approached the end of the year and everyone's trying to give it Game of the Year awards and this sort of thing. Oh, okay. I better give it a look. So I tracked it down, and sure enough, it still to this day is the best comic book video game that you can get, as far as I'm concerned. And the reason I fell in love with it, apart from it's Batman, I mean, you can skip all that stuff. Like, I think that's a given. Like, it just does Batman so well. If you watch the 90s animated series, it is that Batman, and I love the 90s animated series Batman. So that all works great. But the part that makes it so great to me was I got addicted to the combat. Like, I stand up for that combat system in that game whenever people talk trash on it and say, well, it's just button mashy, blah, 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 blah. And I'm always like, no. You go do those combat trials. Because I got the platinum in that game. And to do some of those combat trials on the difficulties and to get the scores that are necessary in some of those harder ones, you have to be good at it, and you have to understand the system that is that combat. You have to be able to use all your abilities. You have to get your counters right. You have to not just button smash square, because you will be throwing a punch and you'll be mid animation and you won't be able to cancel it to counter someone if someone's coming up behind you, and then you break your combo and then you can't get the high score. So I got obsessed with doing that to the point where my friend was trying to get the platinum too, and he couldn't get the things, and I fucking just did it for him. I didn't even care. It was like, Dylan, do you want to do it for me? I was like, sure. Because I'd platinum the game, so I kind of stopped playing it. And I just, an excuse to do it again? Sure. Because that's how much I loved playing that game. But yeah, story-wise, I loved it all up until the end. I still think that the Joker part at the end is ridiculous, and that's kind of where
that's
went off the deep end. But up until that moment, it's great. The Metroidvania stuff done in a 3D open world, well, not open world, but more of a 3D openish space where you're moving back and forth, made sense. And it works so well when you're in a Arkham Asylum. Like, it just makes sense for that game to be like that. You get the new gadgets, you go back, suddenly you can cross this place. They're making a Metroidvania game without you even realizing it's a Metroidvania game, because I suppose you associate Metroidvania to 2D side-scrollers most of the time.
Yeah, well, I didn't even think of it as a Metroidvania game until you brought it up this episode.
Oh, really?
Really?
Now you're like, oh, it all makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had... Look, my only real exposure to Batman going into Arkham Asylum was the movies. So, I knew who he was and the basic stuff about him, but...
Did Dark Knight come out at this point?
I don't know. I believe
yeah, this
so.
is like 2009 Dark...
I think
maybe
it's
a
2008.
year? I feel like this is a year after. Hold on, I'll check. Keep talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the gameplay was fantastic. I loved it. I loved the small personal world, and even just the fact of going, like, it involved a lot of backtracking, and every time you went back, there was always something different about it, or the characters were all amazing. Like, even
the world
the little
changing with Ivy and stuff like that. Yeah.
Even like the little things like Calendar Man's cell, where stuff would change and he would say different stuff on different dates and stuff like that, and it really got me invested in, like, learning more about the character. Like, it made me, in a way, start reading more and more comics and, like, getting invested in the character, just doing deep wiki dives of characters and storylines and all that kind of stuff.
It'll give you the wiki dives in it. You got those
exactly.
files.
Yeah, the codex. I love codexes in games. I can sit there reading them for hours, except for Andromeda. But yeah, it's one of the best licensed games, and even, like, one of the best games, like, in general for me. Like, the more the series progressed, the less I enjoyed it. But because, yeah, I think Asylum is the best in the series and comic game.
I disagree, but
Well,
I always remember from Asylum, one thing that really sticks out is that opening where they're just walking through the asylum.
Yeah.
That's
And the
such a great,
Joker's strapped up.
Sets
great
the mood.
sequence.
Is really cool.
And even though he's
Dark-
strapped up, everyone's on edge, and each little thing
Yeah.
like sets him off. And
Dark Knight came out 2008. The game came out 2009. I reckon they maybe Warner Brothers gave the okay after Begins, I suppose.
Yeah, I guess so.
maybe that was a push for
Yeah.
the Batman set off, I guess.
It's crazy because Rocksteady hadn't really done anything prior to.
No. And
Yes.
this is what they're known for.
Yeah.
Yeah, they come out and prove that you can make a fantastic comic game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Batman game.
And they were the last ones. Oh, we got Spider-Man coming out.
All right, what's your next one, Ashley Hobley?
My next one is X-Men Legends. So it was like an action role-playing game on the PS2. You play it as the X-Men. It's I really enjoyed this story because they sort of centered it around like a young mutant called Magma, who I hadn't heard of, who obviously isn't one of the
The
big.
Pokemon?
Was he on fire and have duck lips?
No, but she's got like obviously lava powers. Yeah, it was like an unknown character, so it made sense for the game. And then I really enjoyed the story. I loved we played it like 3-player co-op, and
Yep.
we had a different X-Men that we were trying to level up or whatever. Yeah, it was
Who was
great
your
fun.
X-Man?
Wolverine probably, because you have to have Wolverine in the
original,
team
Ashley.
because he has that healing factor. So you don't have to pump all the
This team
potions into him.
composition that's happening.
You don't have to pump all the potions into him. He's just has to hide in a corner until he gets.
Did you mid?
What?
What she mean?
I reckon you're a jungler, weren't you?
I don't understand any of those terms.
Legal reference.
Yeah.
I've never heard this game.
I've heard of it. Is it the one with Apocalypse on the cover?
No, it's got Magneto. I think the sequel had Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I had never played those games. They always got me interested, but like I'd never gotten around to it.
Yeah, so they did the 2 X-Men games, and then they did Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah.
Oh, I know that
It's
one.
those ones, yeah. But yeah, X-Men's the ones that kicks it off.
Yes.
I didn't really like
Yeah.
Ultimate Alliance.
All right. What's your next one, Dylan?
My number one is a game I've talked about before.
Shocker.
Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, the Game Boy, the Game Boy game. If you don't know, the Harry Potter games were often. It's like when they were doing. Of course, they made one for every. We're in the period where they're still making movie tie-in games for everything. At what point? That's another question I've been wondering. At what point did this stop? You know?
When mobile got big, and then they started making mobile games for everything.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I feel like that's the. But it's like I'd love to pinpoint the exact because I remember the last big Marvel movie tie-in one I think I saw was like the Captain America game or something like
Even
that.
that was a mobile game, I think. I ended up
Was
being.
it?
I think they did
There was like
a
a first
mobile
Avenger,
and
like
a-
a third-person action game on PS3, and there was like a Green Lantern one. But after that, I can't remember. Anyway. But this is the period of time where they're putting out movie tie-in games every year. So Philosopher's Stones comes out. You've got the PS1 version. You've got the PC version. You've got the Game Boy version. You know, as they went, and they were always like this. You had different variations of the same game. And the Game Boy version of this game is completely different to the version that most people played because they ever played the PlayStation 1 or the PC version of this, which was a third-person... I don't know, like it was more puzzly, adventure-y. Like it was like move this block to here to climb up on this platform, and it was more like this. The Game Boy versions of this and Chamber of Secrets were both RPG, turn-based, old-fashioned, JRPG inspired games where you would run into random battles walking around the corridors. You had spells. You would level up normally, and this is like very basic RPG stuff that I was loving at the time because I was just playing like the Pokemon games and stuff where it was very, very simple. Like it's not Final Fantasy 3, you're changing fucking class systems and jobs and all this sort of confusing shit that you're doing. It's just you get experience, you level up, you get stronger, you get new spells and abilities. Like it's very straightforward. So automatically I was just attracted to it because I could understand it. And of course I was very big into Harry Potter as a kid also. So it hit that point. But it's just the game that I remember being the most surprised about and then getting so addicted to it. Like I'd play through it and just play through it and start it over again. Or do the whole thing where I'd get to a boss and be like, oh, I didn't grind enough. Better restart the whole fucking game. Like I'm 40 hours in, but better restart the whole game because I didn't grind enough before. So, which I used to do a lot of time in Final Fantasies as well. Just be like, I could go grind in the same area, but no, I'll just restart the whole game because what the fuck else do I have going on? I've only got this one game to keep for ages anyway.
Yeah.
But it's also one that I just don't like. Most people don't know of because whenever I'm like Harry Potter RPG, they're like, what? Like,
Yeah, like I remember you talking about it, or not talking about the game mechanics, but I remember playing a Game Boy Harry Potter game, but it was like a kind of like an isometric. I guess not even a platformer, but like I don't even know how you would describe it, to be honest. It was like an isometric, and you would run around the school and cast spells and stuff like that, but it wasn't a turn-based RPG at all. It was very... Yeah, I think it was a Game Boy Advance game.
Film is it?
Yeah. Pardon?
Was it for this one?
No, I don't think it was for... It must have been a later one for it being a Game Boy Advance game. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think by the GBA ones, I was playing them on
the consoles
at that point.
Yeah,
but for some reason I started them on. Actually, I remember as a kid, and this would happen all the time. I remember, like for example, there was one year where I really wanted a Yu-Gi-Oh game when I was big into Yu-Gi-Oh, and I would just get straight up asked, "Do you want this? Do you want the Yu-Gi-Oh game for PlayStation or Game Boy, Dylan?"
Yeah.
Because they would want to make sure I got it on for Christmas.
Yeah.
On the platform I preferred. So, and I would always just be like, Game Boy, Game Boy, Game Boy. Because as a kid, I can always play that. I can play that in the car when we're driving places. I can play that in bed when I'm supposed to be sleeping.
I think Yu-Gi-Oh is also one of those things where you don't gain a whole lot being on a console unless they've got
better
the whole
graphics.
and the animated like monsters and stuff like that. But the base gameplay doesn't really change.
No, but it's just fucking cards around.
Yeah,
but I think even for Harry Potter, it was just because I just like the PlayStation's in the lounge.
Yeah.
Can I use it all the time?
Yeah.
No, because people are watching TV. Can I use it all the time without asking? No, it's not mine. It's my dad, so I can't even use it all the time. Game Boy, mine. Can use that all the fucking time. Do what I want with it. Try and stop me. Do what I want. But yeah, there's it's just one of those games that I've also thought about like trying to find a ROM or something, to stream it. I mean, a ROM because I already own the real copy somewhere, so I'm legally allowed to download the ROM to stream it.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Yes. It's one of those games that I've thought about doing that because whenever I bring it up anywhere, even outside like Explosion Network or podcast circles or whatever, just random people I talk to, friends, their friends or something like that. This is one of those games that whenever someone brings up Harry Potter, I'll always be like, "Oh, did you ever play the Game Boy, one?" And every time it's what? Like no, and I'm always like, I need to bring the gospel of this Harry Potter Game Boy game to everyone. And
I think this game doesn't exist, and you're just making it up in your head. Your head's explained it that many times, you don't know it's real.
Well, it's hard to prove too because it's like if you bring up the Wikipedia page, it's just the wiki page talks about the normal version of the game or like the default version, which is the PS1 PC version, and the Game Boy version's just you have to scroll down to like other versions kind of thing. It's like the Game Boy version was completely fucking different with this.
Yeah, it's weird how they did that. Like they had these games for the console and then the Game Boy, but the Game Boy one would be a completely different game, but it's still sold like under the same marketing.
Yeah,
kind of like Max Payne and GTA and even like James Bond games and stuff like that. It's just very weird.
I think they did it for a Tomb Raider one at one stage too. I think like a GBA Tomb Raider game. It was called the exact same.
Yeah,
and it was a side-scrolling one. But yep.
All right, my next one is Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Oh yes.
Yes, this game I remember getting it very near to the PS3 launch, and just spending hours and hours and hours playing co-op with my brother, getting invested in the story, just having the smorgasbord of characters there to pick from, all that kind of stuff, and the combat, like it was an action RPG, kind of like Ashley's X-Men game, being top-down 4 players, just going through the story and just competing with my brother about collecting who can get the most kills and all that kind of stuff. And I think it's just a fantastic... also showcased, like, everyone knows X-Men, Spider-Man, all that kind of stuff, but I think it kind of brought to the forefront that it was a connected world for the people who weren't really invested in the comics and that kind of stuff as well. Did you ever play them?
I played the first one on, what was it, PS3, yeah. I played the first one. I think I put 2-3 hours into it. And I was like, I guess it's kind of fun, but it's just so obvious that it's a multiplayer game.
Yeah.
And playing it by yourself is... Well, I'm sure some people do have fun, but for me, it was... I could tell this is a multiplayer game.
Yeah.
I'm not getting the experience out of this that I feel like I would. Would I have had more fun playing it with other people? Probably, but I just went and traded it back into EB Games. I was like, I'm not having fun with this.
And it was really like the first game on PS3 for me too that it made me go, wow, this is kind of like new gen, because there was something about it that just looked so crisp and sharp compared to a lot of other games I had played, and compared to the PS2 and that like that. It was just graphically, like, I guess, eye-opening at the time for me as well.
In what way?
It just seemed truly high def, I guess. It looked very sharp, very clear.
Did you have a HD TV
at
this point?
I had one that went up to 720p that I bought from Big W.
Because I remember the first time I played this was still in the period where I had a very standard def TV that was probably, 15 inches, tiny in my room. And this is amongst the bunch of games I played on that, including Assassin's Creed, where I couldn't read the fucking map, and like all these other things. I think Ultimate Alliance, I couldn't see the health bars or something like above the enemies' heads. It was just non-existent.
Definitely. And like I credit Arkham Asylum, I also credit Marvel Ultimate Alliance too, to get me like wiki diving on Marvel and all that kind of stuff as well, getting me invested in the characters. And I think it's also influenced me on preferring Marvel over DC as well, in a way.
Video games got you into comic books.
I guess so, yeah, because I never really had comic books growing up, reading them. I remember distinctly having one X-Men comic. I don't know where I got it from or how I got it. I think it was a hand-me-down or something, but other than that, like, my only comic really reading was that my uncle used to get the Phantom comics every week.
The only comics I'd read until I was... I don't like 15, 16, I got my first DC actual comic.
Yeah.
Up until that point, the only comics I'd read were Phantom in the paper.
Yeah.
Fucking Snoopy, like Charlie Brown in the paper, and then Foot Rot Flats.
Oh yeah, my dad had a book of Foot Rot Flats.
I read all of Foot Rot Flats.
Yeah.
Because I liked that as a kid. But I mean, when I was a kid, I just read it as a picture book, I suppose.
Yeah.
I was never like, I'm reading a comic, guys. This is a thing. But yeah, that was my. I never touched a comic till late either. So
yeah, well, I only really started reading comics when it came to when I got Comixology and getting them that way. Oh no, sorry, I acquired, because Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 was based on the Civil War story arc, and I acquired online all the comics associated with that and read them. Yeah. But yeah, what do you think of Marvel Ultimate Alliance, Ashley?
He can't tell you.
All right. What's your last one, Ashley?
My last one is Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic. I'm surprised I'm the one with the Star Wars game on the list, and not Dylan. But yeah,
I thought it was on my. It's in my honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions that won't be discussed.
Yeah. That won't be discussed, but I just brought him up, so fuck you!
Yeah, I remember starting this game and then getting halfway through and then just getting frustrated with it. And then for some reason I went back and then I just fell in love with it all over again. I love the story. I love heaps of the characters. I think it what's his name? HK47
Yeah, the killer
The
robot
the,
thingy.
the
Yeah.
pessimistic, hates humans robot is genius.
Bender.
Yeah, pretty much, except more actually kills people. Yeah, I love it. And it's my favorite twist in gaming.
What's the twist?
You were the Darth Lord all along.
Spoilers, Ashley. How inconsiderate.
Oh well, you've had 10, 15 years to play it.
It's not canon anymore. Who fucking
Yeah,
cares?
that's true. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
No, it doesn't matter.
Oh, I wanted to love this game, but I just couldn't. I just hated the combat. I don't know what it is about it. I just couldn't get into it. It was kind of disappointing. Like, I loved the aesthetic.
Once you get over the
like,
fact you're not actually physically doing it, it's like a turn-based thing. I think.
Yeah, it's just I just couldn't get over it for some reason. But I'd love the aesthetic, the time period at the time, just the design, how the Sith is a massive force and all that kind of stuff. And I love the design of Darth Revan.
Yeah.
As well, which I think I always remember the first time seeing Kylo Ren going, oh shit, is this tied in somehow or something like that, because the designs are very similar.
Yeah.
But yeah, did you ever play it, Dylan?
No, I've never played this. I missed it. I never played it. I never had a.
I suppose it was.
It was on
exclusively
Xbox and PC.
It
for
was
the time.
Xbox, yeah. And
Yeah,
then
and
PC. By the time I could have got it on PC, I didn't get a PC until PS3 generation. You know, like late PS3 generation. So, yeah, I remember wanting to play it.
But it's on mobile now, so you can.
Yeah, I was going to say you can download it.
But
on
yeah, nah.
on mobile.
Yeah, nah, mate.
No. Then you do the sequel. You need to do number 3. BioWare, you're not doing anything important.
It's also a game that, would I want to play it? Sure, just for the sake of saying I've played it. But I've read the whole storyline. I've heard so many people talk about it. I've just ingested enough material of people just
But you
talking
don't
about
feel
it
like you need to play it.
that I don't feel like I need to play it. Like, I feel like I have played it somewhat just because of how much I've read and seen and heard people talk about it.
Yeah.
So,
Alright. It's odd, yeah, now you mention it, it's odd that more Star Wars games haven't been on the list. But, yeah.
Battlefront 2, the new one.
Because we
My
all
favourite
love
part
loot
is buying the
boxes.
loot boxes to progress.
I'd force Unleashed on my honorable mentions
Okay.
as a Star Wars game.
I'll be editing that out. Alright. I don't know how you don't have any more left, Dylan. Read out your
Well, number 5 was Spider-Man 2. Number 4 was Simpsons Hit and Run. Number 3 was Arkham Asylum. Number 2 was Kingdom Hearts. Number 1 was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah, he got 2 in the one go round.
Yeah.
list. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Ash was like Kingdom Hearts. Then I was like, all right, skip me, go next. And you were like Arkham Asylum. I was like, oh, fucking see you later.
Alright. My last one, I'm counting 2 games as one.
What?
It's-
Oh, don't give it honorable
Bullshit.
mentions, but I'll fit fucking more than one game into my number 1 slot. Fucking hell.
The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, and The Return of the King. These were just action, kind of like hack and slash type games, but it's, for the time, it captured the feeling of the film so perfectly, and just like the experience of taking part in the battles and stuff in the game was just mind-blowing for me at the time. Like, being on PS2 generation, being enamored with the films, and just like the first game, you could choose between Legolas, Gimli, and Aragorn, and you go through their storyline. It started at the end of the Fellowship and goes all the way to the end of the Battle at Helm's Deep, taking part of that. And then the Return of the King, you could play as more characters. Like, you'd also play as all 4 hobbits, I believe, and going through like the separate storylines there and taking
You could.
part.
There was levels like where you're climbing the towers,
Yeah.
Frodo and Sam, and you're trying to find your way out of the rubble somewhere.
Yeah,
and
and
people
fighting
chase you and stuff.
fighting Shelob, and then
Yeah.
going as Merry, doing the battle at doing the battle of Minas Tirith, and then playing as Aragorn, Legolas, and that, doing the Army of the Dead stuff. It was just like, I think they're the best movie tie-in games as well. They were just they were just good games in their own right. Like they played well. They weren't the mechanics all worked fine. There was no like bad game mechanics or anything like that. It's just I love those games, and I wish they remastered them in some way. Like I still think they're the best Lord of the Rings licensed games made.
I agree. I too liked both these games. They didn't make my list, but I've fond memories of them. Particularly Return of the King, because Aragon was my boy.
Yeah.
Like, my password when I was a kid was Aragon69 or some bullshit. So yeah, I just and you, of course, Return of the King is more his big epic storyline, of course. So that's why I'm fondest to that film as well out of the whole trilogy, just because more Aragon stuff, more Aragon becoming a king, becoming a boss man.
Yeah.
Hells yeah, spoilers. But my question leading in this, because I like both these games and they are fun, and playing as all the characters is great. Playing through the moments I remember Helm's Deep battle was like fucking epic. I remember playing that first time, just being like, wow, seeing like Gandalf ride up and all that, you know, like, it's just like, wow, what's this? They're doing it in a game, and it's just as cool as the movie. It's probably not if you go back and look. It probably looks trash, but at the time it was really cool. My question though is, I remember going to play Fellowship of the Ring. I could not beat the first level.
I never played Fellowship of the Ring because they never made a game based on it.
No, I think
Yeah,
they
they
did. It was
No,
not
they
like
made
that
a
at
Fellowship of the Ring, but it was based on the
On the book,
properties,
that's right.
not the movies.
Okay, well, I remember because this is in a period where I'm not buying games as they release, and like
Yeah.
I probably played these, I don't know, like some point after, because I was buying all my games secondhand. Like that's
Yeah.
what was, we'd get taken as kids. We'd go to a secondhand shop, and that's where I'd basically pick up all my games growing up. But I remember trying to play the Fellowship of the Ring game, and opening first level, you're trying to sneak out of the fucking Shire as, what the fuck are they called?
Hobbits.
No, the bad dudes.
Ring race.
Yeah, ring race. Like trying to find you, of course. And I could not beat the level. I don't know what age I was. I was probably 10, 12, 13, somewhere, whatever. And I was like, fuck this shit. And I took it back. So I didn't beat the first level on that. And I remember when Two Towers, when I picked that one up, going, this better be fucking, I better be able to beat the first fucking level. And to get into that one, it's like straight away, I think like the first level's Legolas or, whoever or something like that. You just straight away shooting shit and actions are happening. And like, okay, this is fun. I can do this.
Yeah, I think Tolkien's estate tried to capitalize on the success of the movies, and they made that Fellowship of the Ring, the Fellowship of the Ring game, like to kind of coincide with it, but it was just very bad. Like it was reportedly very bad, and like it was at a time where I go, oh, it's not based on the movies. I don't care about that. Like books,
Books.
yeah.
But I swear the character model looked exactly like Elijah Wood, or maybe I just remember it.
All hobbits don't look the same, Dylan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right?
You racist.
Sorry.
All right, that has been the end of season 1 of Top 5 with Nick. Thank you all very much for coming out and listening. I truly appreciate it. I hope you've had as much fun listening to it as we've had recording it. You can email theme and topic suggestions to the show at don't@explosionnetwork.com.
What kind of themes should they be aiming for, Nick?
Hey?
What theme should they be suggesting?
I haven't decided yet.
Yeah.
You'll find out closer to when season 2 comes out. When you listen to the first episode.
The fucking day before we record.
They've already got 5 episodes in the bank. You can also join our Discord, explosionnetwork.com/Discord, to also suggest themes and just join general discussion and stuff with the guys and our community.
Make up your own top 5s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What Ash said.
Top 5 episodes of Top 5 Season 1.
There we go. It'll be interesting to see what 5 episodes make the cut.
All the episodes not including Kieran.
Shit.
There's only 5 of them.
You can rate and review us on iTunes. That'd be great if you could. If you don't have an iTunes account or refuse to make one like myself, you could spread it by word of mouth, telling your friends, family, go force them to listen to this Clockwork Orange style. You can go to explosionnetwork.com for all our other content, like what do you want to watch, and our podcasts like Platinum Explosion. You can look at the archive of Pleasure Explosion. all that kind of stuff. You can find all our streaming games, reviews, reacts, early late nights with Kieran at twitch.tv/Explosion Network. Follow the show on Twitter at Explosion Pod. You can follow Dylan at
Vivaladil, VIVALADIL.
It's a Thing. You can follow Ashley at
Ashley Hobley, ASHLEYHOBLEY. It's not a thing.
No, it isn't. And you can follow myself at Lord M. Pryor, PRIOR. Thank you very much again for listening to the first season of Top 5 with Nick. Have a lovely day and see you sometime in the non-defined future.
Bye.
See ya.